1 second, life is normal. You're sitting at home, or maybe you're out for a walk. Maybe you're taking your kid to school, or the dog for a vet checkup. But then the ground trembles beneath your feet. When you look up, the world seems normal. The sky isn't falling, but something isn't right. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's a strange stillness in the air. And when you turn on the TV, you find out why. The news is reporting an anomaly, something to do with the Earth's rotation. They don't have all the facts yet, but one thing is clear. The Earth has stopped spinning. What happens next will make the scariest disaster movies look tame by comparison. Welcome everyone to my channel. Today, we're going to find out exactly what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning. How would life on our planet work without its daily rotation? It may sound like a fun what-if scenario, but the truth is, if this were to happen, it would spell doom for humanity. Let's get started. The Earth rotates on its axis once every 24 hours. That means as it spins, everything on its surface moves forward at around 1670 kilometers per hour, 1,000 miles per hour. At the equator, that's fast. In fact, that's faster than most cars can drive. So if the Earth were to stop rotating suddenly, everything wouldn't go along with it. Instead, everything would continue to move forward at 1,670 kilometers per hour, 1,000 miles per hour. Which means there would be a giant crash. Anything that was unbolted down or somehow tethered to the surface would simply go flying off into outer space. The Eiffel Tower would go sailing over Paris. Skyscrapers would come crashing down in New York, London, Tokyo, Sydney, and every city on the planet would be flattened in an instant. Even the oceans would tear themselves apart as water continued to move forward, not realizing the ground beneath it had stopped moving. It would feel like the biggest car crash in history, except it would be thousands of times worse. But eventually, things would calm down a bit. So what would life be like on our non-rotating planet? First, we need to talk about the oceans. Right now, the Earth's rotation makes it wider at the equator. That means gravity pulls a little stronger on stuff at the equator than it does up near the poles. So, over billions of years, centrifugal force has stretched our planet a bit. If the Earth were to stop rotating, those centrifugal forces would disappear and gravity would pull everything toward the poles. At the same time, the Earth is slightly wider at the equator, so all that extra distance would have to go somewhere. As a result, ocean levels would rise dramatically at the poles and fall dramatically at the equator. Look at this illustration. See how the oceans cover more land in the northern and southern hemispheres. That's because Earth's rotation makes the planet wider at the equator. Without that rotation, the Earth would be much flatter. Because of that, most of the cities in the northern hemisphere would be underwater, including New York, London, Shanghai, and Los Angeles. And while the northern hemisphere would face scorching temperatures, the south would face endless winter. And as far as the middle of the planet goes, well, that would be desert. Without rotation, Earth wouldn't have wide belts of continents spanning the globe. Instead, it would look more like this. And if you thought that was weird, wait until we tell you about our next point. You know all those songs about days and nights? Well, after a few billion years of Earth existing without rotation, that probably wouldn't be a thing anymore. In fact, our planet would have one very long day and one very long night. To explain it, let's take a closer look at this image. On the left, you see Earth as it is now. The planet is rotating, which means one side of the planet faces the sun, and the other side faces away from it. The part facing the sun experiences daylight, while the part facing away from the sun experiences night. But if the Earth were to stop rotating, then the eastern hemisphere would face the sun forever, meaning they would experience endless daylight. Meanwhile, the western hemisphere would face away from the sun, experiencing endless night. The area near the equator might remain warm enough for life to exist, but everywhere else would either burn or freeze. So much for a nice tan. You know all those big storms that happen around the world, hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones, well, those are partly due to Earth's rotation. Those big spinning storms do just happen because there's a bunch of water in one place, and then wind comes along and pushes it around. Sure, that helps. But Earth's rotation also plays a big role in our planet's weather patterns. Specifically, The rotation of the Earth is what causes our planet's famous jet streams. Two big bands of fast-moving air that circle the globe and help move weather systems around. Without the rotation of the Earth, those jet streams would cease to exist, and so would many of our weather patterns. There would be no winds at all unless they were caused by differences in temperature. And there would be some big temperature differences. The area near the equator would be unbearably hot, while the area near the poles would be freezing cold. And wherever those two areas meet would be where megastorms would brew. Here's the thing though. Eventually, over millions or even billions of years, the Earth would probably find a new balance, but humans wouldn't be around to see it. You see, there are a lot of factors that help life on Earth thrive. The fact that the Earth rotates is one of them. If the Earth stopped rotating, the atmosphere would quickly sort itself out, but it would sort itself out into a pattern that doesn't support life as we know it. Basically, the atmosphere would settle into a series of bands. Hot bands and cold bands, and wherever the two meet, storm bands. For humans to survive, we would need to live in the twilight zones, between the burning and the frozen areas. And since those twilight zones wouldn't be very hospitable to humans, modern civilization would collapse and humankind would die off, probably pretty quickly. Only the hardiest bacteria would survive, kind of like how life existed before the Earth began rotating. There are other theories about what would happen if the Earth stopped rotating. Some scientists believe that without the centrifugal force created by the rotation of the planet, Earth's core could collapse, causing massive earthquakes all across the planet. Others believe that Earth's magnetic field, which is partially generated by the rotation of the planet, could collapse without warning, leaving the entire planet vulnerable to cosmic radiation. And still, others say that without the rotation of the Earth, the climate models we use to predict the future of our planet would break down entirely, meaning we wouldn't be able to tell whether our efforts to save the planet are working or not. We actually have some clues about what would happen if the Earth stopped rotating. Back in 1970, two American physicists calculated what would happen if the Earth stopped rotating. They found that it would take about 30,000 years for the planet to stabilize. But it wouldn't stabilize into something similar to what we have now. Instead, they found that Earth would end up in a state of constant chaos. The truth is, there are a lot of things we do I know about the Earth and our place in the universe. So answering questions about what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning is really hard. Luckily, it's also impossible. The Earth won't stop spinning anytime soon, if ever. The laws of physics seem to suggest that it's impossible for a planet to stop spinning. A planet's rotation is tied to its formation, and inertia is a powerful force. Essentially, the Earth has been spinning since it formed billions of years ago. The laws of physics suggest that a planet's rotation is directly tied to its formation. Scientists think that back in the early days of the solar system, there was a giant cloud of dust and gas. As particles in that cloud collided, they would spin, and the collisions would cause that spin to increase. So as the Earth formed from that cloud, it absorbed all that spin. And even today, we can see evidence of that in the Earth's equatorial bulge. Not only that, but the Earth's rotation affects other parts of our planet too. It affects our weather, it affects our oceans and our magnetic field. So, if the Earth were to stop spinning, it would affect every aspect of life on our planet. But here's the bright side. We don't have to worry about it happening anytime soon. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember this. The only reason life exists is because the Earth spins just right. If it ever stopped, the day the Earth stood still would also be the day humanity might not survive. So there you have it. What would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Do you know any obscure science facts? Share them below. Thanks for watching.